The Last Wish. Part 4. She entered the bath chamber just as Geralt, sitting naked on a tiny stool, was pouring water over himself from a bucket. He cleared his throat and modestly turned his back to her. "Don't be embarrassed," she said, throwing an armful of clothing on the hook. "I don't faint at the sight of a naked man. Trissmerigold, a friend, says if you've seen one, you've seen them all." He got up, wrapping a towel round his hips. "Beautiful scar." She smiled, looking at his chest. "What was it? Did you fall under the blade in a sawmill?" He didn't answer. The sorceress continued to observe him, tilting her head coquettishly. "The first witcher I can look at from close up, and completely naked at that." "Aha!" She leant over, listening. "I can hear your heartbeat. It's very slow. Can you control how much adrenaline you secrete? Oh, forgive me my professional curiosity. Apparently you're touchy about the qualities of your own body. You're wont to describe these qualities using words which I greatly dislike, lapsing into pompous sarcasm with it, something I dislike even more." He didn't answer. "Well, enough of that. My bath is getting cold." Yennefer moved as if she wanted to discard her coat, then hesitated. "I'll take my bath while you talk, to save time, but I don't want to embarrass you. And besides, we hardly know each other. So then, taking decency into account—" "I'll turn round," he proposed hesitantly. "No. I have to see the eyes of the person I'm talking to. I've got a better idea." He heard an incantation being recited, felt his medallion quiver, and saw the black coat softly slip to the floor. Then he heard the water splashing. "Now I can't see your eyes, Yennefer," he said. "And that's a pity." The invisible sorceress snorted and splashed in the tub. "Go on." Geralt finished struggling with his trousers, pulling them on under his towel, and sat on the bench. Buckling up his boots, he related the adventure by the river, cutting out most of the skirmish with the catfish. Yennefer didn't seem the type to be interested in fishing. When he got to the part where the cloud creature escaped from the jar, the huge soapy sponge froze. "Well, well," he heard. "That's interesting. A gin in a bottle." "No gin," he contested. "It was some variant of scarlet mist, some new, unknown type. The new and unknown type deserves to be called something," said the invisible Yennefer. "The name gin is no worse than any other. Continue, please." He obeyed. The soap in the tub foamed relentlessly as he continued his tale, and the water overflowed. Something caught his eye. Looking more carefully, he discerned outlines and shapes revealed by the soap covering the invisible Yennefer. They fascinated him to the extent that he was struck dumb. "Go on." A voice coming from nothingness, from above the outlines which so absorbed him, urged, "What happened next?" "That's all," he said. "I chased him away, that gin, as you call him." "How?" The ladle rose and poured water. The soap vanished, as did the shapes. Geralt sighed. "With an incantation," he said. "An exorcism." "Which one?" The ladle poured water once more. The Witcher started to observe the ladle's action more diligently, because the water, albeit briefly, also revealed this and that. He repeated the incantation, substituting the vowel E with an intake of breath according to the safety rule. He thought he'd impress the sorceress by knowing the rule, so he was surprised when he heard laughter coming from the tub. "What's so funny?" "That exorcism of yours." The towel flew off its peg and suddenly began to wipe the rest of the outlines. "Triss is going to kill herself laughing when I tell her. Who taught you that, Witcher? That incantation?" "A priestess from Huldra's sanctuary. It's a secret language of the temple." "Secret to some." The towel slapped against the brim of the tub, water sprayed onto the floor, and wet footprints marked the sorceress's steps. "That wasn't an incantation, Geralt. nor would I advise you to repeat those words in other temples. What was it, if not an incantation? He asked, watching two black stockings outline shapely legs, one after the other. A witty saying. Frilly knickers clung to nothing in an unusually interesting manner, if rather indecent. A white shirt with an enormous flower-shaped ruffle fluttered upwards and outlined Yennefer's body. She didn't, the Witcher noticed, bother with the whalebone nonsense usually worn by women. She didn't have to. What saying? He asked. Never mind. The cork sprang from a rectangular crystal bottle standing on the stool. The bath chamber started to smell of lilac and gooseberries. The cork traced several circles and jumped back into place. The sorceress fastened the cuffs of her shirt, pulled on a dress, and materialized. Fasten me up. She turned her back to him while combing her hair with a tortoiseshell comb. He noticed that the comb had a long, sharp prong, which could, if need be, easily take the place of a dagger. He took a deliberately long time fastening her dress, one hook at a time, enjoying the scent of her hair, which fell halfway down her back in a black cascade. Going back to the bottle creature, said Yennefer, putting diamond earrings in her ears, it's obvious that it wasn't your funny incantation that drove him away. The hypothesis that he discharged his fury on your friend and left seems closer to the truth. Probably, Geralt agreed gloomily. I don't think he flew off to Sidaris to do away with Valdo Marx. Who's Valdo Marx? A troubadour who considers my companion, also a poet and musician, a talentless wastrel who panders to the taste of the masses. The sorceress turned round with a strange glimmer in her eyes. Could it be that your friend managed to express a wish? Two, both stupid. Why do you ask? This fulfilling of wishes by genies is nonsense. After all, jinns, spirits of the lamp, clearly nonsense, repeated Yennefer with a smile. Of course, it's an invention, a fairy tale devoid of any sense, like all the legends in which good spirits and fortune-tellers fulfill wishes. Stories like that are made up by poor simpletons who can't even dream of fulfilling their wishes and desires themselves. I'm pleased you're not one of them, Geralt of Rivia. It makes you closer in spirit to me. If I want something, I don't dream of it. I act, and I always get what I want. I don't doubt it. Are you ready? I am. The sorceress finished fastening the straps of her slippers and stood up. Even in high heels, she wasn't impressively tall. She shook her hair, which, he found, had retained its picturesque, dishevelled and curling disarray, despite the furious combing. I've got a question, Geralt. The seal which closed the bottle. Has your friend still got it? The Witcher reflected. He had the seal, not Dandelion. But experience had taught him that sorcerers shouldn't be told too much. I think so. He deceived her as to the reason for his delay in replying, Yes, he probably does. Why? Is the seal important? That's a strange question, she said sharply, for a witcher and a specialist in supernatural monstrosities. Someone who ought to know that such a seal is important enough not to touch, and not to let their friend touch. He clenched his jaw. The blow was well aimed. Oh, well. Yennefer changed her tone to a much gentler one. No one's infallible, and no witcher's infallible, as we see. Everyone can make a mistake. Well, we can get it on our way. Where's your comrade? Here, in Rinda, at Erdils, the Elves. She looked at him carefully. At Erdils, she repeated, contorting her lips in a smile. I know where that is. And I gather his cousin Kireadan is there too. That's right, but what? Nothing, she interrupted, raised her arms and closed her eyes. The medallion around the witch's neck pulsed, tugged at the chain. On the damp bath-chamber wall shone the luminous outline of a door which framed a swirling phosphorescent milky nothingness. The Witcher cursed. He didn't like magical portals or travelling by them. Do we have to? He cleared his throat. It's not far. I can't walk the streets of this town. She cut him short. They're not too crazy about me here. They might insult me and throw stones, or do something worse. Several people are effectively ruining my reputation here, thinking they can get away with it. Don't worry. My portals are safe. Geralt had once watched as only half a traveller using a safe portal flew through. The other half was never found. He knew of several cases where people had entered a portal and never been seen again. The sorceress adjusted her hair again and pinned a pearl-embossed purse to her belt. The purse looked too small to hold anything other than a handful of coppers and a lipstick, but Geralt knew it was no ordinary purse. Hold me. Tighter? I'm not made of china. On our way. The medallion vibrated. Something flashed, and Geralt suddenly found himself in black nothingness, in penetrating cold. He couldn't see, hear, or feel anything. Cold was all that his senses could register. He wanted to curse, but didn't have time.